Assalamu alaikum dear students. As you all are aware that we started a new topic, that is common air pollutants and their sources. So I hope you had gone through the lecture which I uploaded last week and have covered the things which were discussed in that lecture. And today I shall discuss about one of the subheading of this topic, and let's see what is it. It's about outdoor pollution. We have covered all these topics. I hope you have gone through on your own also. So this is what we're going to discuss today. It's about outdoor pollution. Now, what are the things which are involved? What are the chemicals which are involved in outdoor pollution? So first, let's understand what is outdoor pollution. Outdoor air is often referred to as an ambient air. Ambient, as I told you, is the air which surrounds you when you just step out of your house. So the air which surrounds you, it's called ambient air. The common sources of outdoor air pollution are emissions caused by combustion processes, like the burning processes, like if something is burning, fuel is burning, bushfire is burning. So whatever is burning, it's causing air pollution, and it comes from motor vehicles, solid fuel burning, and industry. Other pollution sources include smoke from bushfires, wind-blown dust, biogenic emissions from vegetation, like for example pollen and mold spores. The most common air pollutants of ambient air include particulate matters. As we discussed, the particulate matters, they have the diameter of like from 10 to 2.5. These are considered as the pollutants. And ozone, and this is not the ozone which is present in the stratosphere, it is the one which is on the ground level in the troposphere, and nitrogen dioxide, carbon dioxide, and sulfur dioxide. So these are the major outdoor air pollutants. Now let's see what are indoor air pollutants. Just like the outdoor air pollution, indoor air pollution can pose a risk to your health, as we spend much of our time in our homes. It is important that air is as clean as possible. Indoor air pollution can come from sources outside the home, such as emissions from transport or smoke from neighboring wood heater, and from sources within the home. So air pollution inside your home can be caused by from the outside air which is coming into your house, and the things which are present within your house, and they are generating the chemicals which are harmful to your health. So let's see what are the common air pollutants in the home. Again, the particulate matters which have the diameter from 2.5 to 10, and nitrogen dioxide, carbon monoxide, tobacco smoke, wood burning heaters, unflued gas heaters, and molds. Unflued gas heaters are the ones which are without the chimneys. You must have seen that most of our houses, they have the heaters during the winter season, but we don't have the chimneys attached to the heaters. So they are very harmful because they emit harmful gases, and they just keep increasing the level of pollutants in your house. So if you see here, the wood burning heaters and your health. Now let's see what are the harmful effects of this. Now the smoke from wood burning heaters can affect your health. Long-term exposure can cause heart and lung diseases, while brief exposure, like for short-term exposures, can aggravate asthma or worsen your pre-existing heart conditions. Use of a wood burning heater will affect the air quality inside your home and the surrounding environment. If you use a wood burning heater, ensure it is properly installed and that you operate it correctly. Your local council may be able to assist if you are affected by smoke from other people's houses. Now sometimes this happens that the chimneys of other people, your neighbors, can come into your house, so you can complain to your council or the local council. Now what is in the smoke from wood coming heaters? Now have you ever wondered what kind of pollutants are present in the smoke which are coming from wood burning heaters. Now let's see what kind of pollutants are present in there. So smoke from wood burning heaters is a complex mixture of particles and gases and contributes significantly to air pollution. So it has both the particles which are dangerous for your lungs and the gases. So it's a two-way thing, like it's affecting you in two ways. Both the gases and the particles, both the harmful things are there in the smoke which is coming from the wood burning heaters. And the main air pollutant in wood smoke are carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxide, and a range of other organic compounds like formaldehyde, benzene, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. So they all, they are very, very harmful for your health. And these things comes when the wood, you are burning wood for, keeping your house warm, or maybe you are using wood for, cooking. So why is wood smoke important? Now let's see why it's important. The total annual emission of fine particle matter like PM 2.5 are emitted from the wood burning heaters. On a winter weekend, wood burning heaters may be responsible for more than 60% of the fine particle pollution. Now this can cause severe kind of pollution, and sometimes it generates smog also. So it's really very harmful for your health and for environment. So who is most at risk with these smoke which is coming from the burning wood? So basically the children and elderly and people with heart or lung conditions like angina, asthma, and COPD are most likely to be affected by the wood smoke. Now these are the things which you can plan in order to minimize the air pollution in your house, and this is how you can protect yourself and your children and your elderly people in your house. So just go through these points. Now, I just want to discuss one important factor which most of us ignore in our house, and that is mold. Mold is such a kind of pollutant which is creating havoc in our houses, and we are unaware because the spores of molds are microscopic and we cannot see them, but they are always present in our houses. Now let's see what is a mold. Mold is a part of group of very common organism called fungi that also includes mushrooms and yeast. It is present virtually everywhere, both indoors and outdoors. Mold may grow indoors in wet or moist areas lacking adequate ventilation, including wallpapers, ceiling, bathroom tiles, carpet, especially those with jute backing, insulation materials, and wood. If moisture accumulates in a building, mold growth will often occur. Many different types of mold exist and all have the potential to cause health problems. Now I have a video related to this mold. You all are aware of the mold, like you have seen the bread, the green part used to come like after, if it is kept for like 4 or 5 days, it starts growing there. So it's very harmful, not for your like if you eat that will also cause harm to your health. But apart from that, the spores of this mold are very, very dangerous, because if you inhale them, they goes into your lung and it can choke and it can grow fungal infection into your body. So it's very harmful, and we have to be aware of these kind of pollutants which are present within our houses. So just go through this video and I'll come back to you again.
You could say there are two types of mold: the good and the bad. Penicillium notatum, for example, gave rise to the drug penicillin, which by some estimates has saved at least 200 million human lives, while other molds like Aspergillus flavus produce toxins that can harm and even kill you. But whether or not you want it around, mold is everywhere. In fact, you're likely breathing it in right now, and there's pretty much nothing you can do to get rid of it. Mold is a fungus, like mushrooms, and it's made up of thousands of thread-like filaments called hyphae. It uses those filaments like roots to feed. Hyphae extend into your stale bread or rotten tomato and start releasing digestive enzymes, which are actually similar to the enzymes in our stomachs.
Molds digest their food just like we do, except if you were a mold, it would be more like just laying your face in your food and soaking up the food through your skin.
That's Kathy Hodge, a mycologist and mold maven at Cornell University. She says that by the time you actually see that fuzzy mold, hyphae are already hard at work deep below the surface. So cutting out the moldy part does little to harm the entire organism. Just like ripping off leaves doesn't kill a plant. What's worse is that molds have an incredibly broad diet. Yes, they love bread, but some species also love dead skin, soap, and even the paper-covering drywall. That's according to Nicholas Money, who has authored several books on fungus.
There's a good food source for these molds lying beneath the paint, so when that structure gets wet, bam, they'll go for it.
But if there's one thing that makes molds so difficult to manage, it's this: spores. Spores are like seeds which molds use to reproduce.
They'll produce these aerial structures, like little stalks, all microscopic, and then they'll form spores at the tips of those stalks. And then in response to airflow, those spores will be carried, they'll get up into the atmosphere.
A single mold can make hundreds of thousands of spores. So it's no surprise that mold counts in cities like Chicago can be as high as 125,000 spores per cubic meter.
You've got millions of tons of these spores in the atmosphere, and it doesn't look like it, right? But yeah, if you could visualize that, it would be mind-blowing, absolutely.
And they're not just outside. They're in your home. They're everywhere. To show you what I mean, I set up a little experiment in my apartment, a la high school biology. These are petri dishes, and they are filled with what's called agar, which is essentially a growth medium for mold. So I'm very excited to place them around my apartment and see what kinds of mold will grow in them. I put one by my bed, another by the window, and one in my bathroom, and I left them open for about an hour to collect spores. A week later, they looked like this. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's beautiful or absolutely disgusting. The dish by the window had the most diverse assemblage, about 10 species, most of which are just common indoor molds according to Professor Hodge. And the one by my bed, where I sleep, wasn't exactly empty. Now this seems terrifying, but is it? So at least one of the molds I collected is likely Cladosporium, and according to Money,
a vast proportion of the human species is actually reactive to Cladosporium. In other words, if we get enough of the spores of Cladosporium in our lungs, that they'll create some kind of an allergic reaction.
And high mold counts can also trigger asthma, he says. But it actually gets worse. You see, some molds produce nasty chemicals called mycotoxins, such as Stachybotrys or black mold.
Stachybotrys make airborne toxins, and they seem to also affect our health. Even our cognitive abilities are sometimes affected by high doses of mold toxins.
And it's actually these mycotoxins that make moldy food potentially dangerous.
Some cheese molds are actually toxin producers. For example, a particular one makes a toxin called penetrans that is a neurotoxin. So just eating lots of moldy things without knowing what mold is growing on them is probably not a great idea.
But here's the thing. For mold to actually cause you harm, there needs to be a lot of it, even if it's toxin producing. So most homes like mine are safe. And there are a lot of molds that we don't want to live without. I'm not just talking about penicillin, but molds like Polypocladium inflatum, which is used to make an immunosuppressive drug called cyclosporin. And there's this one.
This is Aspergillus niger. It's some people's favorite mold, because this mold, can you see it?
Yeah, perfect.
It's adorable, isn't it? This mold makes almost all the citric acid that's produced in the world.
And citric acid is a really common food preservative and flavor additive. So the next time you're drinking soda or fighting off an infection, think of molds. They may be impossible to get rid of and frankly just straight up gross, but we definitely don't want all of them to die.
Okay, that's all for today. Bye. Thank you.